Okay, we are here with Jamie Edenden. It's a great pleasure to have you on, Jamie. We're trying to do a little bit of a series on trying to give I suppose, some, I won't say notoriety, but a bit of attention on some of the up and coming fighters out there. And Tassie Brown here is with me. How are you, Tassie?
Good, thanks, Lyndon.
Strongly recommended you, Jamie, to come on the show. So it's great to have you along. And I know you've just finished training, so it's great to have you on the show.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you for having me.
All right, well, let's start with your background. Now, I think you were actually born in England, is that right? And you've come to Australia?
Yeah, that's correct. So I moved here with my family when I was 2.
Geez, you wouldn't know it, Tassie. There's no accent there.
I know, mate. I know.
All right, so you started obviously now. Well, firstly, you've got a big fight coming up on November the 12th. It's on a good mate of ours, Paul Nassari's show. You've got a rematch with Enya Prest. Now, this is actually Prest, is it? Or Priest? Prest? This is actually Prest. Just Enya, we'll call it. Now, this is actually a rematch from a fight earlier this year.
Yeah. So she and her team requested the rematch with me. So yeah, it's happening again. I've had 2 fights since I fought her, and she hasn't fought since. So yeah, it should be an interesting one to rerun. So.
Do you go between? Oh, sorry, Taylor, I'll let you ask a question in a second there. But do you go between both? Because you've obviously got the MMA background. You go, but between the two of you, you've started with MMA and now you're crossing over to boxing full time.
I go between the two. So in my division for MMA, there's just not a big enough pool for me to be fighting and be active. So
Yeah.
I have to take boxing fights in between, and I want to take boxing fights in between. Like I love boxing, so I just do whatever I can take, really.
Go ahead, Tassie.
Yeah, Jamie, welcome to the show. So this is for the waterweight title, isn't it, on November 12th?
Yeah. So the welterweight Australian title, and for the Australasian title.
That's pretty awesome to be fighting for a title. So how do you feel about that? You know, you're sort of excited to be fighting for a major title?
Yeah. I mean, so I'm obviously defending my Australian title. So I won that when I fought her last time.
Oh, okay.
And to add on, yeah. So I'm the current champion, the Australian champion, and I beat her for the belt last time. So she's wanting a rematch, and we've also got the Australasian title on the line as well. So fighting for 2 belts.
And how's training camp at the moment going for you, Jamie? Sorry.
Yeah, it's going really good. I actually just finished training and I did I think about 17 or 18 rounds, and I'm still feeling pretty good. So I'm coming into this fight super fit, super ready. So yeah, I feel good.
Jamie, now you started your career in boxing at I think junior middleweight. Is that right? 154. You've dropped back to 147.
I had my first boxing fight, at 69.9 for the Queensland title. But 66 welterweight is my weight for MMA. It's called featherweight in MMA, not welterweight. So that's my normal weight. But for boxing, I can come up and luckily fight at heavier weights, which is good.
What do you see as the differences in? And we've had this conversation with Isaac Hardman, who's had gone from the both as well. How do you find the MMA into boxing, especially actually going between the two? What are the main differences you find between the two arts? I suppose if you want to call them.
Yeah, boxing I find is like it's hard. There's a lot of volume. There's more cardio, and obviously I don't get to use my legs on my takedowns or wrestling, or and it's bigger gloves as well. So, but yeah, it's just more cardio. It's harder on the arms and more output, more volume in the fight.
More technique too, Jamie, with your punching.
Yeah, for sure. You got to be smarter with what you throw and the combinations that you throw with boxing as opposed to MMA. Because I mean, like you could just throw one punch with 4-ounce gloves and that can really knock someone out and do some damage. But with boxing, you got to be smarter and you've got to use a lot more feints and you got to work the body more. And it's a lot more work.
Go ahead, Tassie. Sorry.
Yeah, I was some good friends with your with Jeremy Green. It was a big part of your career. A great guy, and I was actually trying to organise a sparring with Shannon O'Connell recently, but I think due to her fight being a bantamweight or super bantamweight,
Bit big.
I think they're you're a little bit big, yeah. So that's why we couldn't get that. But hopefully, we can get you some good sparring soon. So I'm just in the process now, talking to a few people to see if I can get a few more sparring partners for you.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. I struggle to find sparring partners that are women that are my size or any size really. No one's just willing to say yes. So I've got to spar the men, which is totally fine as well.
Well, that's
So I
what
rough
Shannon
them up a
did
little
on the
bit,
way up.
but yeah, pretty much. Yeah. So we've asked about like 6 or 7 teams, and they've all said no. So I just stick to sparring the dudes, and I still get some really good work in, obviously. So
Hey, Jamie, I just want to ask you the women's scene in Australia at the moment. It's obviously never been stronger. It hasn't been around obviously for decades, but it's just such riding such a wave at the moment. We've just had Susie Ramadan, Shanika Johnson, Beck Hawker obviously just won her world title. We've obviously got Ebony Bridges and Shannon O'Connell come up. It's just a great time for Aussie boxing, and then there's all girls like yourself. And I just seen the card the other. I think Ace Boxing's got some girls, almost as many girls on as guys. So it just must be great to be part of it at the moment.
yeah, it's a great time to be a female fighter. To be honest, like it's just getting stronger and stronger. But I just wish that the purse is matched. There's always going to be a discrepancy with pay for women, and I just wish that we were getting the same, because we're doing the same work and we're taking the same damage and doing the same damage, and most of the time the female fights are way better than the men's fights. No offense.
Yeah.
So, so like, we should be, and I know that in boxing they do longer rounds, so that's fine. But in MMA, we have to do the same rounds, the same time, the same training, the same rest rounds. Like, we should be getting paid the same.
It's an interesting one, isn't it, Tassie? Because I mean, you look at sports like AFLW and some of the other sports, and you can sort of see, well, okay, you get what you bring in, but in this case with the female combat sports fighters. They do actually literally bring in just as much as the guys, don't they, on most of the occasions, especially in like the Paul Nasari type shows where it is based on ticket sales and all the rest of it. Surely they should be getting paid the same.
Yeah, well, I promoted Mousy Jacobs, WIBA world title. She got paid well. She also got a good cut of the tickets, so she went away quite well. Look, everyone's different, but I mean, the girls aren't as cherry picking as the guys. The girls fight anyone.
Yep.
8 matches. The guys sometimes looking to pad their records. The girls fight anyone. Look at Mousy Jacobs, went up and fought Beck Hawker, Sky Nicholson, whoever, whenever. And most of the girls have that attitude. So, I mean, it's awesome. Shannon, Susie Ramadan, Shanika Johnson. These girls just want to fight. So, and obviously Jamie. So, I mean, yeah, look, the women, the women give birth, mate. Women are always going to be stronger than men. That's the way it is.
Yeah. So, Jamie, what are your aims? What are your aims for the future then? So obviously you've got to get past Anya Press first, but what are your long-term goals? Do you see yourself staying in boxing, or do you see yourself maybe going back to MMA, or like you're doing now, a little bit in between?
Yeah, let me just say that she's got to get past me. It's not me having to get past her.
Okay. All right, yeah.
Yeah, I
Good. Well, yeah, touche.
I always do that, Lyndon.
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah, I mean, the goal is for me to be in MMA, but at the moment boxing is offering more for me, so I'll just take what I can get. Like if I get offered more boxing fights, or if I get offered MMA fights, I'll just take whatever is right at the time. I'm not going to take fights just for the sake of taking fights. So yeah, it has to be worth my while. Otherwise, like, I'm not going to take a fight where I'm getting paid shit, or it's against an opponent who I'm not going to get anything out of, So they have to bring something to the table if it's going to be a boxing fight. Otherwise, I'll take an MMA fight.
Is there more money in MMA than boxing? I'm not really quite sure what the MMA sort of purses are. Is there more money in that than what you're doing at the moment?
In Australia, no. I do get paid better for boxing. But I'm not sure what it's like overseas. I think it would be the same, but I'm not too sure. But yeah, in Australia, it's definitely not on the same page.
Did you catch the fight on the weekend with Susie Ramadan and Shanika Johnson?
No, I just saw the highlights, but yeah, that was a nasty cut.
That's almost something you'd almost see in MMA, like from a chop or an elbow or something. It was pretty horrific. It was like she'd been hit in the head with an axe. It was, not good. But Are they that strict in the MMA with that type of stuff? If you get a cut like that, or how does that work?
Yes and no. I mean, if it's near the eyes or in the eyebrows, they look at it more carefully. And but I mean, yeah, in MMA, I think they're a little bit more lenient because you kind of see, the dudes and they're just covered in blood if they get cut.
Yeah.
And yeah, but I'm not sure. So
Hey, quick question before I let Tassie have the last one there. You've done obviously both. A good MMA fighter versus a good boxer. Who wins? You think you know our response, but
are we fighting in 4-ounce gloves or?
well, hey, that's a good question. Are we in the octagon or in the ring? All right. Well, let's just say it's a bit neutral. It's on a big mat. It's not in an octagon or in the ring, and you've just got a good boxer against a good MMA fighter. Is there conditions, circumstances that would need to happen, or would you back one no matter what happens?
I think I'd back. The MMA fighter because they've got more tools. They've got more things they can use. Generally more explosive. Boxers generally are really heavy on the front foot. So an MMA fighter could get away with just chopping the front leg and wrestling. So I'd probably put my money on a MMA fighter. But if it was obviously just purely striking, then the boxer for sure.
Yeah. It's an interesting one because I won't say I've had arguments with people, just discussions about it to say, hey, full respect obviously to MMA fighters and boxers, but a lot of the probably uninformed fans, I suppose, they say, oh, all that MMA boxers got fighters got to do was just get hold of the boxer and break him in half or break her in half and it's all over. But my argument's always been, well, a good boxer always has really good footwork. And good luck trying to get hold of a good boxer with good footwork when there's hands coming at you at the same time. So it's a bit of it's an up and down one. But I just don't think that.
At the end of the day, Lyndon, I'm not bagging MMA, mate. But we know who makes the more money. What sport makes the more money? I mean, you know what I mean. So let's not even talk about it. There's no fucking comparison.
Don't get him started, Jamie.
Don't get me fucking angry. All right. Conor McGregor had to come to fight Floyd to make money. Tyson Fury, one fight against Wilder, pays the whole card of UFC. There's no competition in the story.
We better change the subject, Jamie. But, all right, well, the last thing, actually, one thing I want to ask you before we let you go is Shannon O'Connell, Ebony Bridges in December. Who wins and why?
Shannon O'Connell, hands down. I think she's the stronger, more experienced fighter. I actually saw a video of her saying that she's going to punch holes through Ebony, and I actually think that she will. I just don't think Ebony's going to be able to handle the pressure and the power that Shotgun has. So, yeah, I'm putting my money on her.
And any fighters that you've got your eye on after this? You said before, Enya's got to get through you. What's your end game in boxing? Who are you aiming for?
There's a few local Brisbane girls that have been trying to get fights with me. So, I mean, if I need to stay active, I can always fight them. I want to be the best. I don't want to just keep fighting for the sake of fighting. I want to be champion. After I win the Australian champion, Australasian champion, maybe a Weaver World title or some sort of intercontinental title or something like that. I don't want to go backwards, so I'm not going to take fights that push me backwards. I'm going to take fights against the best people in my division or the division up. So, and also,
yep, go ahead.
Yeah, the Taylor Harris fight is always there. Sorry.
Is she the same weight? I thought she was a bit heavier than that.
I think she fights at 75 kilos, but yeah. So we were meant to fight a couple of months ago, but we just couldn't make it work because I had commitments with MMA.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'd always that fight's always there, and I would obviously fight her at any time. So.
Well, she has let's say a bit of a blessed run as far as her opponents go. Good, look, full respect obviously for what she's done, but I don't think she's actually fought a fully fledged, legitimate fighter at the moment. I wouldn't have thought. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I think she's fought a couple of MMA girls as well, but she seems to keep fighting the same people over and over. I think there was one girl, Margaret Butcher, that she's fought 3 times.
And didn't have a win, I don't think.
So, yeah. No, I think she's won them all, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, but I think Margaret Butcher hadn't had a win, I don't think, out of all her fights.
Yeah, no, exactly. So it'd be really nice to see her fight someone that actually can put some pressure on her. So I think that I'm the person to be able to do that.
You got to give them credit, don't you, Tassie? Regardless of whether you think wins or why, you got to like the MMA fighters that come over to boxing, because, like Jamie said, they'll fight anyone, anywhere, anytime. Where you get a lot of boxers that get a bit precious sometimes.
As a promoter, mate, I love dealing with the MMA and kickboxing guys because they just say when and where. Like, you know, I promoted Rob Wilkinson, who's fighting for $1 million now. I promoted Chris Drummond. I promoted some kickboxers from Queensland. I've got big Alex Simon on, Dan Hill. You know, they say when and where. There's no fussing around about records. So, mate, they are great to deal with as a promoter. You know that, Lyndon, yeah?
Yeah, no, 100%. That's good, Jamie. Well, look, it's been great to have a quick chat with you. November 12th, Paul Nassari. Now, where is it? Obviously in Sydney somewhere. What suburb of Sydney?
It's in Revesby at the sports club or workers club, something like that.
Paul Nassari, Revesby, mate. That's where he does his show.
Is that right? What about... He's a good man, Paul, and when you see him, tell him we say g'day. So tickets, are they available just online or...?
Yeah. So tickets available online. If you give Paul a call, I think his number's posted everywhere. He puts it up everywhere. So give him a call and
it's on a few.
Grab your tickets.
It's on a few dating sites too.
Is it? I bet. Nah, that's great, Jamie. Well, all the best with not only this fight but the rest of your career. It's been great having a chat, and all the best.
Jamie,
thank you so much, guys.
I'm going to look at maybe putting you on in Tassie next year, so keep winning. Shout out to Jeremy Green, HTC Tasmania. Great blokes, great team. He's a great guy, and you're in the good hands with Jeremy.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Jamie.
See you, Jamie.
Okay, bye-bye.
All right. See you.